and welcome to the Little Fern Fibers knitting journal, crafting journal. I live in Wisconsin in the United States with my husband Adam and our 2.5-year-old daughter, and we have another little girl just a few months away due this fall that we will be welcoming with lots of love and open arms, just a short amount of time. So I'm just starting this little video. If I end up posting more or making more, or posting it even, and if people watch it, great. If not, perfect. I just wanted a little spot to kind of document what I'm working on, and maybe not necessarily even document, but just have a space for myself to call my own, where my thoughts are still my thoughts, separate from everything else. I am a stay-at-home mom, so kind of retaining those parts of yourself I have found can be kind of tricky, and I'm hoping that this is a way for me to do that, especially with another little one coming on. So I hope to share a lot of my projects and what I've been working on and what I hope to work on and plans and things like that. So that's what this is going to be. If you'd like to follow along, I'm very happy for you to join and share in the wonderful journey that is crafting and knitting. So if you do follow me on Instagram, Adam and I have Little Fern Fibers. We started a few months ago, and it was our platform, where I also spin yarn, and I was spinning art yarns and scrap yarns, and I still do, and he was turning wooden ocean bowls and yarn bowls. However, we've kind of put it on hold for the time being, just because with the little one, I have had trouble sitting at the spinning wheel. It's just gotten a little bit more difficult, and so I've kind of put that on the back burner because I want to enjoy it, and I know a lot of people have been asking, especially about the scrap service, which I love doing, and I love creating the art yarns and sharing it, but I have a feeling that if I'm uncomfortable and if I'm not enjoying it while I'm spinning, it's gonna go into the yarn somehow, and I don't want to send it out into the world, and so we have it on hold for a while, but I thought this was a way to kind of keep that space of me, that little spark lit through all the changes that will be coming up. And Adam and I have even talked, and crafting in our hobbies is a really big part of our relationship, and it gives us something to talk about outside of parenting, I think. And so we've even talked about, like, maybe we would do this together. He would come on when he feels like he wants to talk, and he's a good listener when it comes to that, and he shows lots of interest and knows a lot about what I do, and I hope I can show the same interest with him and that I do. So this is kind of this little space, and if you're following along, thanks for coming along. And yeah, I suppose I'll show what I'm working on. I'm actually currently knitting a gauge swatch for the Wool and Honey sweater by Andrea Mowry. I haven't ever knit one of her patterns. I sure follow her quite closely, just because she has such a wealth of knowledge, and she presents it in such an easy, accessible, understandable way. And I just think she, really shares with the knitting community, and I love that. And I have my eye on this pattern for a while, so I'm excited to try one of hers. And it's this beautiful kind of like goldenrod color that I'm looking forward to seeing it swatched and knit up. And I started actually swatching it yesterday, and I'm not a swatch person, to be honest. This is like the first swatch that I'm ever like doing fully. Usually it's like I'll just like knit an inch and then knit it, measure it really quick, and then base an entire sweater off of you know, that little small section. So I'm actually doing it the right way. And even while I was doing a gauge, Adam came by and he's like, "You're making a what? You're doing a swatch?" And it's just kind of funny. But yes, I am doing a swatch finally, and I'm glad I did, because last night I was working on it, and I knitted up, I blocked it, and I measured it early this morning, and it was like completely, the numbers were completely off. I think the gauge was 26 stitches to maybe 46 rows. I can't quite remember. Mine wasn't even like close. Like the rows were off by like 10, and I'm thinking, what is the deal? Like, I don't think I was like knitting crazy tight, or you know, whatever. And I even looked at other people's projects on Ravelry and that use the same yarn, and nobody seemed to have too many issues. I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what's the deal. I must be measuring wrong. So I read the pattern closer, and you're supposed to swatch it in garter stitch, and I just, you know, thought I knew what I was doing and just did it in stockinette stitch, just because that's what I normally, I suppose, do when I have done swatches. So I'm glad I slowed down and looked at the pattern. And I was working on the swatch yesterday as well, and my sister, I was talking with her, and she was like, I thought you didn't have, like, I thought you knew what you were doing, that like you didn't have to swatch. Like, you know, I thought you were, you know, have knit long enough that like you don't have to swatch. And I thought to myself, no, I'm finally kind of know what I'm doing, or, you know, have had enough experience or years of doing it that like, no, now I am swatching. So it was just kind of funny. And yeah, that's what I'm working on. I have been knitting ever since I was little, and so I've knit sweaters and lots of other things. But yeah, I just need to tell myself that I need to fully swatch if I'm, you know, gonna want every sweater to work out hopefully the way that it's supposed to. I've had, you know, luck with sweaters and they feel great, and then it has come back around where the sweater wasn't the right fabric or yarn choice, and I, you know, didn't do a swatch or gauge at all, or didn't do one that was accurate. So I'm glad I am finding it in myself to do it. So that's what I'm working on right now. And other things that I've finished, I'll just jump right in. And it was, I suppose, yesterday from the library, I got a book, Seasonal Slow Knitting. I actually have it right here. Seasonal Slow Knitting by Hannah Thiessen. And I started reading it yesterday, and it was just a gentle, maybe not even gentle reminder, but it was a good reminder while I was reading this. And then I found the mistake as I was knitting up the swatch, that yeah, you do need to slow down and let this craft be a mindful, slow, enjoyable. It doesn't need to be like crank out every project. And because the most of the time when I do find the enjoyment, it's so slow, you know, quiet projects that really keep me going, and that's like the foundation of knitting that I love. So it was just kind of a funny little coincidence. But another thing that big project that I've just finished is a little trio of sweaters, and I think I put a picture on Instagram the other day, but it's 3 sweaters by Melody Hoffman, who's Bee Mandarins, and I love her. I love all of her designs, and it's her Tulip Jumper, and her adult Tulip Jumper came out, was it last fall? And I was so excited about it, and I jumped on the pattern as soon as she released it to her Patreons, and yeah, I knit it up. I was super excited. I had bought the yarn. I was holding it double with this great mohair, and it was kind of this rusty, these 2 rusty tones together. And I knew when I finished it, I was like, oh, I was trying to like force myself to like it, but the fabric was all wrong. It was too too drapey and heavy and thick, and like I just didn't feel good wearing it, and I tried to tell myself that it did, but it didn't. And so I frogged it and I ripped it all out, and I love making it, but the fabric choice just wasn't there. So instead I went for Lopi, which I love. I don't mind Lopi, and I think it has great structure. It holds its structure really well, especially in sweaters. And so that's what I went with, is a same kind of rusty yarn, and I love the scallop bottom. It's such a sweet little touch, and it was a great pattern. I think the only things that I really changed were I don't think I did the tubular cast on, if I remember that's what it called for, and I didn't do it quite as thick, but other than that, pretty much the same. And yeah, I'm super excited to wear it. I haven't been able to get the full effect of it with my belly, but hopefully this fall it'll get lots of use. And that was such a lovely project to work on. I think this is definitely going to be one that I will make more of for myself in the future. And then a few months after she released the adult pattern, she released a kids and a baby version of the jumper. So I just finished this little, I think it's a 4-year, I think I did the 4-year-old size for our daughter Fern, and I just finished it. I haven't yet blacked it, but I love it. It's so cute, and it's kind of matching colors. This is actually the yarn that I used for my initial Tulip Jumper, and I think it's going to be great for a kid's sweater just because it is drapier. It's going to be able to maybe grow with them, since it did feel kind of like stretchy and drapey, and it's soft, you know, so I think that will really help. But I have yet to black this, and while I was knitting it, even with the ball attached, she tried it on and surprisingly didn't want to take it off, which was like a pleasant surprise for a toddler. So I'm so excited to see her in it, and that was a really fun quick knit. And I also did the baby size for our daughter that is due in fall, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So we'll all kind of be matching, and how can that not be just the cutest thing? So this was another great quick knit, and I love how the pattern worked up on such a small size. And there's a little snap back that I added for the neck, and they're so sweet, and I'm so excited to be able to have these for this fall. And I think I did this in like a 6-month, just because I wanted it to be roomy, and yeah, we'll see, but I'm sure more of these will come off the needles soon as the girls grow. So yeah, that's what I just finished, and that was great. And it's July here, just the start of July, so I took a day to kind of go through all my sweaters, and maybe I'm turning a new leaf, because I never was much of like a sweater, you know, putter awayer and washer at the end of the season. And golly, this is the year. So I got all of my knits and gave everything a nice bath, and I have some of them actually drying out today because it's kind of like a breezy day, and I'm storing it all away and have some cedar in there just for fun, just in case. And you know, I have everything folded, so that's what I did this past week. And because you put so much time into them, and yeah, over the years when I haven't taken care of sweaters, it is disappointing come fall when it's like, I should have probably, you know, not had this like wrinkled up in this drawer. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. And I think I'm also gonna, hopefully this week, I have a pair of socks that I need to try and darn. I've never darned before, so oops, I dropped a stitch. I'm gonna try and do that. And Adam turns wooden, he's turned wooden like eggs, like little eggs, and he's gonna try and make one into like a darning egg. And hopefully that will, I think he was pretty excited to be able to try that out, and I'm excited to try darning out because again, I've never done that before. But actually, right here, they're just the Hermione's everyday socks, and I think I knit these 2 years ago, and they've gotten lots of wear, but they are starting to, you can tell it's getting a little shabby on the foot here, and I just want to catch that before too big of a hole for them. So I'm gonna try and darn those soon. And then just there's a few other holes in some sweaters that I have that I want to figure out how I want to mend. And then supposed to wrap up this episode another project on Instagram that I just posted that I've been working on is a crocheted thing, which I have never crocheted before, not for any reason other than just knitting is just like my true love and passion and hobby. So, and it always will be, but I wanted to give crochet a try, and Theodora Goes Wild, that's what her handle is on Instagram. She has a cropped granny square jacket that I loved. There's a part of me that like loves earthy, natural tones, like the sweater, and then there's another part of me that loves vibrant, crazy, bright palettes too, and colorways. So this was one where I obviously chose the bright side of things, and yeah, I have like no idea. I still don't really understand crochet stitches. If you asked me to do a double crochet, I think I would maybe know, but I watched a lot of videos for this on how to just do granny squares and get the basic stitches down. So I'm really glad I did this project. I feel like I kind of powered through it because it was fun. It was fun to knit each square and just kind of boop, pop it in the basket. And so here's the final cardigan. Obviously I need to weave in all the ends, and I actually just blocked it last night. I used the same yarn that the pattern called for, and this was her DK version of the cropped granny square jacket. And yeah, it kind of lays a little bit flatter. I am a little bit nervous to weave in all the ends, but I'll get there. And once I got the hang of the granny squares, you could just like, I felt like I could just kind of like whip them out, which was a very satisfying way to have a project. And I have probably ripped out the edging of the sleeves and the bottom like 10 times. I've tried colorways and what she suggested for stitches, and it just, I don't know, it just didn't seem to fit with how I wanted the final piece to look. And yeah, obviously I want it to be bright, but it just looked a little, it just wasn't the right color choices that I was using. So instead I just added a few rows of, I think, double crochet, and on the bottom as well. And I even did the bobble stitch pattern that the pattern calls for, which is like something that when I first saw this cardigan, that's like immediately what I loved about it, was this little bobbled edge that you do. And I tried it with different size needles and kind of tried to play around with the stitches, and it just, I don't know, it didn't look quite how I was hoping it would, and maybe that's my tension, I have a feeling. So instead, this is like way out of left field, but I'm gonna try it. I have this whole, oh gosh, this whole mess of this pom-pom edging for a project that I did a long time ago for a blanket, and I think I'm just gonna do this on the edges, and I think I'll just probably like tuck it in, and I don't know, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna sew it on, crochet it on, I don't know, but that's my plan, and I'm looking forward to finishing this. And yeah, it was fun to try, and I'm really glad I tried it. And her pattern, I tried to follow it as best I could for never having read a crochet pattern. But yeah, it was, check it out. And she has it in a few other, I think she has it in an air and weight too. And if I do decide to post this video, I will link the patterns and things that I mention. I think that's what you're supposed to do. Yes, I will do that. But I think that's kind of it for today. And hopefully I'll do another one in a month and progress will be made on things. Maybe I'll have some new projects. I actually just bought, treated myself as a birthday present for a yarn swift. And so I used that the other day and it was just such a fun feeling. I've always wanted one of those, and it made it such an enjoyable experience to wind the ball of yarn. So that was exciting. And I also have yarn for another sweater, and of course like a list of projects that's 10 miles long. So maybe we'll get to some of that in the next video if I do post. And yeah, if you do watch this, let me know how it is. Yeah, I'm just excited to have a spot to just talk about things and see where that goes and see where it takes me, and give myself a chance to keep that little spark of myself going through all the upcoming changes, and, you know, find that knitting community, because man, is it a great community. So we'll see where this goes, if it does do anything, if I do anything with it. But yes, thanks for sticking around, and hope things are treating you well and all good things to come, and I will maybe see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.